So, the theme of the conference is about how you make change happen. And on the face of it, this is quite a remarkable story. You've got this group of people who aren't massively well connected politically, they don't have huge amounts of resources. They're suddenly thrust into this situation where they're battling this enormous injustice at a time of real personal tragedy against what was a fairly major cover-up by huge parts of the establishment. How did they win?
It's a good question. Maybe they haven't really. I mean, it's still ongoing, but they faced the full weight of the British establishment. As you say, they were just ordinary families trying to cope with grief, with loss, with the trauma of it all, because of the resilience that they have got, but the solidarity of an entire city. I think those are the two key ingredients, which means that they're now hopefully on the verge of finally prevailing.
Can you tell me a bit about Margaret?
I first met Margaret on the day of the 20th anniversary. I'd been invited by Steve Rotherham to address the COP on the occasion of the 20th anniversary, and then Margaret was there on the day, and I met her for the first time. She was wonderful afterwards, and she, and all the families were, and ever since, we've been locked in together on this road. The thing about Margaret for me is that she's, everyone can connect with her. She's like everyone's mum. She goes mad, I said once, she's like everyone's grandmother, she went absolutely berserk at that, so I'm not saying that again on camera, but she's like, for anyone from Liverpool, she's like the archetypal Scouse mum, really, and you can really relate to her and warm to her because of that. And she, but she's just so decent, and she really does kind of, speak for everybody.
Is there something bigger that Hillsborough sort of has done in the sort of public consciousness, or for Britain?
I think so. I think in time it will, come to embody a real moment in British social history where all of those issues around class, around power, were kind of really brought out. I don't think it could have happened to any other supporters or any other city than the city of Liverpool, because of the anti-Liverpool feeling that was built up in the country at that particular time. It came through the 80s when, trade unionists, Northerners, football supporters were kind of the second-class citizens, and the city of Liverpool began to embody it all. And I think the kind of right-wing press particularly built and kind of nurtured that feeling. So when Hillsborough happened, the Sun could write what it did, and no one really challenged it. And I'm not sure it could have happened to any other city. I don't think any other city could have prevailed in the way that this one has, because of a sense of solidarity that you don't find everywhere else. It's it's there in places and to some extent, but it's not the same. There is an absolute togetherness in Liverpool. As an Evertonian, we were always completely there, and we didn't buy the Sun either. And that is the way it was, and everybody was in it together. And Liverpool is materially maybe far poorer than many other places, but much richer in the things that really matter. The reverberations from Hillsborough, I think, will roll on really for many years in terms of how power, class and privilege work, and how elites in politics, in the media, in the police kind of have for many years colluded and prevented justice and held back the interests of ordinary people. And I think it will be a kind of salutary moment when people really look and learn, and a real mirror is held up to this country, and people say, right, that's what it's like. Well, we're not going back to that ever again.